Hello everyone, Arlecchino finally getting her rerun in patch 5.3 and she is already being one of the best DPS in the game. So in this video I will be covering everything you need to know about Arlecchino and how to build her. Without further ado, let's get right into it. First, let's get into her kit and talent. Arlecchino is a pyro main DPS character and she has a unique mechanic which called Bone of Life. Bone of Life is a mechanic that prevents character from being healed. When Arlecchino have a Bone of Life up to 30% of her max HP, her normal attack will be infused by pyro and cannot be overridden by any element. When she is having a Bone of Life, her normal attack will deal extra damage to enemies. But every time she deals damage to enemies, she will consume 7.5% of her Bone of Life. The more Bone of Life you have, the more damage you will deal to the enemy. And the least Bone of Life you have, the least damage you will deal to the enemy. But how do we get the Bone of Life? To know that, we need to know how her elemental skill do. When use the elemental skill, Arlecchino will deal AoE pyro damage to enemy. And also, the enemy will get the X mark. The mark will last for 30 seconds, and every 5 seconds it will deal pyro damage to enemy. And when use charge attack and elemental burst, she will absorb the X mark and she will gain Bone of Life in the amount of 65% of her max HP. And the skill have a cooldown of 30 seconds, but every time she consumes Bone of Life, the cooldown will be reduced by 0.8 seconds. There are two types of mark. First is the normal one, which called Blood Death Directive, and second is the enhanced one, which called Blood Death 2. The difference between the normal ones and the enhanced one is the amount of Bone of Life you gain after you charge attack. The normal one will only give Bone of Life of 65% of her max HP, but the enhanced one will give 130% Bone of Life. So make sure you use the charge attack after the mark is already enhanced. And when enemy have a mark is already defeated before we use the charge attack, we still get Bone of Life worth of 130% of her max HP, thanks to her Ascension 2 passive. Speaking of passive, Arlecchino have a unique passive, which is she can only be healed through her elemental burst. But she also gain 40% pyro damage bonus. For elemental burst, it has 50 second cooldown and energy cost of 60. After using elemental burst, she will do like this. After we use elemental burst, the elemental skill cooldown will be reset. And also, she will heal herself. And her healing is based on her Bone of Life value and attack. After we know how does she works, let's get to the talent priority. For talent, upgrade normal attack first, then elemental skill and burst. For normal attack, you can crown if you want it, because it's the main source of her damage. For elemental skill and burst, level 6 is enough. especially if you want to save up your materials. Next, we move on onto her rotation. For rotation, use Arlecchino elemental skill first and swap to other character to give her a ton of buff. After that, swap to Arlecchino again, use charge attack and then spam normal attack. Spam normal attack until you're running out of bone of life. Use elemental burst if your Arlecchino is already on low health. And then use skill again. Repeat the rotation again and again. Next, let's talk about her weapon. For weapon, Crimson Moon Sunblast is the best option for her. Because, of course, it's her signature weapon. Not only will give you high base attack, but it also have a high crit rate, and from its passive, it will give you another 1 of life and a ton of damage bonus. And if you use her signature weapon, there will be a sight in her weapon. But if you don't have her signature weapon, you can use another 5-star option, such as Primordial Jet Wing Spear, Staff of Holma, and Staff of Scarlet Sand. And for the 4-star option, there are not many, but you still can use Deathmatch and Ballad of the Fjord. For free to play, White Tassel is the best option for you. Next, let's get to the artifact. For artifact, 4-piece Fragment of Harmonic Whimsy is the best in slot for her. Or you can use 4-piece Gladiator if you want. For main stat, use attack percent or EM on Sense, pyro damage bonus on Goblet, and crit rate or crit damage on a Circlet. For substat, search crit rate, crit damage, attack percent, and ER if you want. For final stat, search crit rate around 60 to 70%, crit damage 140 and more, and attack minimum of 2000. For ER, 100% to 140% is enough for her. Next, let's talk about her team comps. First is a hyper carry team. For the first slot, use, of course, Arlecchino itself. For second slot, use Bennett for buffer attack. For the third slot, use any shielder. Since Arlecchino cannot be healed by any character, so shielder is the best option for you. For the last slot is flexible, but I recommend use Kazuha. Next is a overload team. For overload, make sure you add Severus to your team because I think she is the best option for overload. For the third slot, use any Electro such as Raiden Shogun, Yaimiko, or maybe Fischl. And for the last slot, use
Boken da Boken!
For the last team I recommend is Vaporize. For Vaporize team, in the second and the third slot, I recommend use Shincho and Yelan. Ignore my Shincho by the way. And for the last slot, again, it's flexible. You can use Shielder if you have a skill issue, or if you don't have a skill issue just like me, You can use,
冒険だ冒険
and I think that's all for this video. I hope this guide is helpful for you, and I just want to say thank you for watching this video until the end. So see you next time and goodbye.